Commander Wells stood in the middle of the ruined city and felt the weight of death all around him. The buildings were broken. Fires still burned in some places. The air smelled like smoke and something else that did not want to think about. His team had come to the colony to find out what happened. 3 weeks ago, the humans had made contact with the people. There were tall creatures with silver fur and intelligent eyes. They lived in cities and they had science and laws. But something had gone wrong. The colony stopped sending messages. So and his crew came to find out why. What they found was a dead world. No people, no animals, just broken buildings and ash. Walked through the streets alone. His team was searching other areas. He had a feeling he needed to go deeper into the city, away from the main areas. Something told him there would be answers there. He found the small building by accident. It was partly underground, hidden behind fallen rocks and broken metal sheets. Moved the debris away slowly. The door was locked from the inside, which meant someone had closed it and hidden here. When opened the door, the smell hit him first. It was a mix of fear and sickness. The building was dark, turned on his light. In the corner, sitting very still, was a creature. It was small. It had silver fur like the other, but this one was young, very young, maybe 3 feet tall. Its eyes were large and bright, but they held something that had seen in human children after wars. They held nothing but pain. The cub did not move. It did not run. It did not attack. It simply looked at with eyes that had forgotten how to hope. Did not approach. He had learned from his years in space that fear was a wall that had to be broken slowly. Instead, he sat down on the ground, far enough away that the cub would not feel trapped. They stayed like that for a long time, just sat and looked at the cub, and the cub looked at. No words. No movement, just 2 creatures, one human and one alien, sitting in a broken building. Finally stood up slowly. He saw the cub pull back, muscles ready to run, but did not come closer. He reached into his pocket and took out a protein bar. He broke off a piece and placed it on the ground between them. Then he sat back down and waited. The cub stared at the food, could see the hunger in its body. The creature was thin, very thin. Its ribs were visible under the fur. Time passed, did not move. He did not try to talk, he just waited. The cub's nose twitched. Hunger was stronger than fear. Slowly, on legs that shook, the cub crawled forward. Its eyes never left its face. It was ready to run at any moment. The cub took the piece of food and retreated to the corner. Watched the cub eat. It ate slowly, as if afraid the food might disappear. When it finished, it looked at again. Broke another piece of food and placed it down. This time the cub did not wait as long. It came closer. The distance was shorter. Could see scars on the cub's body now. This creature had been through something terrible. They repeated this for the next hour. Each time the cub came a little closer. Each time did not reach for it or try to touch it. He let the cub come at its own speed. Finally, when placed a piece of food down, the cub took it directly from his hand. The cub's small fingers touched his palm. Felt the creature shaking. The cub's eyes closed for just a moment, as if remembering something painful, then opened again. Spoke softly. His words were basic, words he had learned from the database. "You are safe now. I am here. You are safe." The cub made a small sound. It was not a word understood, but it was the first sound the creature had made since found it. Spent the rest of the day with the cub. He brought more food, water, a blanket from his bag. The cub slowly got braver. It began to explore the immediate area around, but it never went far. It kept coming back to, as if checking that he was still there. As the sun set outside, sat against the wall, and the cub sat near him, close enough that could see it, far enough that it felt safe. The cub's eyes started to close. It was exhausted, probably from days of fear and hunger. Made a decision in that moment. A decision that went against protocol. A decision that his superiors would probably question. He would not take this cub to the authorities. He would not hand it over to the government or the human colonial office. He would find out what happened to this creature's family. He would find out why it was alone in this broken city. And he would make sure that this small being understood that it was not alone anymore. When his team came to find him hours later, they were shocked. Captain Lisa Stone looked at the cub with doubt in her eyes. "Sir, we cannot just take an alien creature aboard the ship," she said, built a small space in one of the lower storage rooms. He made it comfortable, a bed made from cushions, water containers, food, light that was soft and warm. He did not make it like a cage, he made it like a home. The cub, which still did not know the name of, stayed in this room for the first 2 days. It did not eat much. It did not drink. It barely moved. It just lay on the bed and stared at nothing. The ship's doctor came to examine the cub. Her name was Dr. Rachel. She was good with difficult patients. The creature is not sick, doctor told. Not sick in the body, the mind is hurt, very hurt. It has seen things no young creature should see. Knew this was true. He had worked with traumatized people before. He knew that healing was not fast or simple. On the third day began his routine. Every morning he would come to the room. He would sit in a chair in the corner. He would not talk. He would not try to touch the cub or make it do anything. He would just sit and read from his tablet or look out the small window at the stars. The cub watched him, always watching. Its large eyes followed every movement, but it stayed on its bed. Brought food, but did not force the cub to eat. He left water, but did not demand that the cub drink. He simply made these things available and then went back to his corner and sat. Days passed, the crew grew impatient. Captain Stone called to his office. "This is not working, Commander," the captain said. "We need to decide what to do with this creature. We cannot keep it in our ship forever." "Give me 2 weeks," said. "I need 2 weeks." The captain sighed but agreed. Continued his routine. Sit, wait, leave, return. On the 5th day, the cub drank water. On the 7th day, the cub ate a whole piece of fruit. On the 10th day, something changed. Came into the room as usual and sat in his corner. The cub was already awake, watching him as always. But this time, the cub did something different. It made a small sound, a chirp almost like a bird. Did not react with excitement. He did not show emotion. He simply acknowledged the sound with a small nod and went back to his reading. The cub made the sound again, louder this time. It was testing to see if this human would hurt it for making noise. Kept reading. The cub stood up. Its legs were weak from days of not moving, but it stood. It took a small step toward, then another. His heart was beating fast, but he kept his face calm. The cub stopped just out of reach. It made the chirping sound again. This time it was different. It sounded like a question. Slowly put down his tablet. He turned to look at the cub. He spoke in the simplest words he knew. "Hello," he said. "What is your name?" The cub made a series of chirps and clicks, sounds that did not understand, but he understood the meaning. The cub was answering. The cub was trying to communicate. Repeated the sound as best as he could. It was wrong. He knew it was wrong, but the cub's ears moved forward in interest. Over the next hour, learned that the cub's name was. It took many repetitions and many mistakes, but finally said it correctly. The cub's tail moved. Not much, but it moved. It was the first positive response had seen. Reached slowly into his pocket and took out a piece of dried fruit. He held it out, did not take it. Instead, looked its face, studying it carefully. Waited. Finally, took a step closer and took the fruit from his open hand. This time, the small creature did not retreat. It stood there, eating, and for the first time looked at without pure fear in its eyes. That night when left the room, did not hide. Watched leave, then lay down on the bed, but did not turn away from the door, faced it, waiting for it to return. Knew something important had happened. The wall was still there, but there was a crack in it now, a small opening that might grow larger. The next morning, when entered the room, made the chirping sound right away. It was the sound of a greeting. Sat in his chair, but this time he sat closer, closer than he had before. Did not move away. "Hello," said. You are safe here, I am here." The small creature did not understand all the words, but it understood something in its voice. It understood that this human was not going to hurt it. Day by day came closer. By the end of the 2nd week, the small cub would sit next to while read. They did not touch, but they were near each other. That was enough. Captain Stone came to observe one day. He watched and sit together in comfortable silence. "I was wrong," the captain said quietly. "I thought this would never work." Did not look away from his tablet. "The young do not forget kindness," he said. Well, 3 weeks later was different. The cub was still small, still thin, but there was light returning to its eyes. Followed through the corridors of the Aurora when was not on duty. The crew had stopped trying to keep the cub hidden. Everyone knew about now. But did not talk much. It made sounds and chirps, but it did not share its story. Knew the cub was holding something inside, something that hurt too much to speak about. One evening, sat within the observatory. The stars stretched out before them, endless and beautiful, pressed against the glass, looking at the lights. Decided it was time. He had to ask the question he had been waiting to ask. Said slowly, "Where is your family?" The cub's whole body went still. The chirping sound stopped, turned away from the window and looked at with eyes that suddenly held all the pain again. Did not push, he waited. Made sounds, sad sounds, broken sounds. The cub turned in a circle, agitated, and then sat down hard on the floor. It started to make the sounds again, and this time understood some of the meaning even without words. Fighting, death, hiding. Sat down next to and did something he had never done before. He reached out and touched the cub's fur, did not pull away. Tell me, said, tell me what happened. So did. The story came out in pieces in a mix of sounds and body language and the words had learned from. The cub's family belonged to a clan. There was another clan that wanted their land. A war started. The clans fought. There were many deaths. His mother and father fought to protect the young ones, but there were too many enemies. His mother knew they would lose. She took and hid the cub in the underground building. She gave food and water. She told to be quiet and to hide and to not come out. Then she left. His mother never came back. Waited, days passed. The cub waited and waited. But no one came, thought that maybe no one survived. Maybe everyone was dead. Maybe was the only one left in the whole world. So stopped hopping, stopped trying to live. Listened to this story and he felt the weight of it. This was a creature that had decided to die. This was a cub that had given up. Pulled close and this time the cub did not resist. Pressed against and made small sad sounds. Your mother loved you, said. She hid you to keep you alive, that is what family does. Looked at his face. Took a moment. He made a decision to share something of himself, something he had never told before. When I was young, said, my family died. There was an accident. I was alone for a long time. I thought no one would ever care about me again. I thought I was alone in the world. Listened, the cub's ears moved forward. But then I found other people, continued. People who became like family to me. They took care of me. And I learned that family is not only the ones you are born with. Family is the ones who choose to stay with you. Family is the ones who love you. Pointed to himself. I am your family now. This is what being family means. It means being here when someone needs you. It means staying even when it is hard. Made a soft sound. It was a sound had learned to recognize. It was the sound of sadness turning into something else. That night took to the observation deck and showed him images of Earth. He showed the cub forests of green, mountains of rock and snow, oceans of blue water that seemed to have no end. He showed animals that lived together, creatures that protected each other. This is where I come from, said. On my world, many different creatures live together. They are not all the same, but they are family to each other. Watched the images with wonder. Days passed, began to eat more. The cub began to play, followed everywhere and did not mind. The cub was healing. But knew something that did not know yet. Had been searching the ship's database. He had found records. Records that the Aurora had collected before the colony was destroyed. His family was alive. The clan had survived. They had scattered and hidden, but they were alive. Had found their location and stood in the communication room of the Aurora and made a decision that would break protocol. He activated the secure channel to the collective council. Captain Stone stood next to him, watching with uncertainty. They appeared on the screen. There were 5 of them. They were tall, almost 8 feet, with silver fur that rippled like water. Their eyes were intelligent but cold. This is Commander Wells of the human exploration vessel Aurora, said. I must speak with you about a matter of extreme importance. One of them leaned forward. You have what we need, human. I have a young, said. A cub named. I found this cub alone and dying. Now I am returning this cub to you, but I must speak about what it means to be responsible for children. They exchanged looks. One spoke. Why would you care about a child? We are not your species. Took a breath. He had to explain something that they might not understand. I care because a child is a child, said. I care because this small being suffered alone. I care because where I come from, all creatures are responsible for protecting young ones, even if they are not our own kind. He paused. Your cub was abandoned, left to die while a war took place. That is wrong. A species that abandons its children is a species that dies, not from weapons, but from losing its heart. The screen was silent for a long moment. Then one of them spoke. This one was older than the others. His voice was different. You speak true, human. We have done a shameful thing. Our clans fought and our young suffered. You are right to challenge us. Felt something shift. The ice was cracking. I have located survivors of clan, continued. I can bring to them, but I need your assurance that the cub will be safe. No more war, no more fighting between clans. I need to know that a young creature will be protected. The elder nodded. The wars will stop, we will make peace, and the cub will be under protection of all clans. This is our oath. Felt relief wash through him. For the next week prepared, the cub knew something was happening, was clever and could feel shifting emotions. Said one evening, I have found your family. Made a sound of surprise and fear. The cub's body shook. They are alive, said quickly. Your mother, your father, your relatives, they are alive. They are waiting for you. Made sounds, questions. The cub was afraid, had lost hope before and had been hurt by false hope. Held close. I know you are afraid, but this is true. They are waiting for you. When the Aurora descended to the surface, took to the landing site personally. He carried the cub in his arms, clung to, shaking with fear and hope mixed together. The clan was waiting, saw the elder he had spoken to on the communication screen, and beside him stood a tall female with fur that matched. When saw her, the cub made a sound of recognition. The female cried out and rushed forward. Put down, the cub ran toward the female and they connected, making sounds of joy and pain mixed together. Stepped back and watched. This was the moment. This was what it meant to be human. To the reunion lasted for hours. Mother, whose name was, held her cub and wept. Father Thorn placed his hand on the cub's head and made sounds of relief and gratitude. Other family members gathered around, all wanting to touch the young one they thought they had lost. Stood at a distance and let them have this moment. He had done what he came to do, was home. But as turned to leave, he felt a small hand grab his leg. He looked down and saw. The cub had broken away from its family and was holding onto. Made a sound, the same sound the cub made in the morning when came to the room. A greeting sound, but this time it meant something different. This time it meant goodbye. Knelt down and looked its face. The cub's large eyes were wet with tears. I have to go, said quietly. You are home now, you are with your family. Made another sound, a questioning sound. But I will come back, said. Family does not forget family. Even if we are far away, even if we are different, we will always be family. Hugged, the cub's small arms wrapped around the human's neck, and for the first time since had found the cub in that broken building, smiled. It was small, it was not a big smile, but it was real. It was a smile that said, I believe you, I trust you, thank you for staying when no one else did. When stood up came to him, she was holding. You are not leaving, said. It was not a question. I must return to my ship, said. Shook her head. No, you will stay, you will teach us. The council has decided. You will help us build peace between the clans. You will help us learn that we must protect our young ones, all of them, no matter what war happens around us. Looked at, the cub was still smiling. How long, asked. As long as you can, said. For now, this is enough. So stayed on the world for 3 months. He worked with the clans to build peace agreements. He sat with the younger and told them stories of Earth, of how different creatures lived together. He showed them that strength was not in weapons alone. Strength was in choosing to care for those who were weaker. Followed everywhere. The cub went from being alone and hopeless to being surrounded by family, but always came back to. The human was not the cub's parent, but the human was family in a way that was just as important. When it came time for to leave, did not cry. The cub had learned that goodbye did not mean forever. I will return, promised, and he meant it. Back on the Aurora, as the ship left the system, stood at the observation window. He thought about how one small decision to show kindness to a frightened creature had changed everything. The collective council had agreed to join the human alliance. The clans had agreed to stop their wars. And most importantly, they had agreed to protect young ones, all young ones, no matter what happened around them. All because one human commander had sat with a broken cub and said, You are not alone, I am here. Years later, when the histories of human and relations were written, they spoke of Commander Wells and Young. They spoke of how one act of compassion had opened the door to peace. They spoke of how family could exist between different species, how love was a language that everyone understood. And when young cubs learned to read, they learned story. They learned that even in darkness and pain, there could be kindness. They learned that a human could be a friend. They learned that family was not defined by DNA or by species. Family was defined by the choice to stay, the choice to care, the choice to say, I am here for you. And they learned that when a cub said, I have no family, a human could whisper, I'm here, and everything could change. This is the story of how two species became truly connected, not by treaties or politics alone, but by one simple act of human kindness that showed the universe what it meant to be truly human. Never forgot, and neither did the. And Wells carried the memory of one small cub's smile with him for the rest of his life, because that smile was a reminder that saving one life was not a small thing. That smile was the future. That smile was proof that hope could return, even in the darkest moments. The smile meant everything. The elder came too. You have given us back our future, the elder said. We name you protector. Among all the humans, you alone have shown us the meaning of family. You will always have a place among our people. It was an honor did not expect. But as he looked at one more time, at the way the cub was now embraced by people who loved it, understood the real honor. The real honor was knowing that one person's choice to show kindness had changed everything. The database, but telling this would open new questions, new pain. Was not ready, and more importantly, he did not know how to bring home without putting the cub in danger again. So waited, he held close at night when the cub had nightmares. He listened to the stories began to share. He watched as the small creature slowly learned that the world was not only pain. And he made a plan. That someone was here when it had no one else. But even as said this, he did not know the full truth. He did not know story yet. He did not know what horrors the cub had survived. And he did not know that this small moment of trust would grow into something that would change the future of two species. Looked at the sleeping cub, its small body curled up near him, finally at peace. We can, said quietly, and we will. The decision was made. The journey was beginning. But neither nor anyone else on the Aurora knew that this one cub would change everything.